FNaF is a game that needs no introduction. Over the 8 years the series has existed, we have 7 main games, 2 AAA games, posters, plushies, figures, Funko Pops, costumes, a book series, graphic novel adaptations of said book series, and a metric crap ton of fan games. As much as critics hate it, no one can deny the reach it has and the sheer amount of childhoods it has made, obviously including my own, which started with the second game, funnily enough. And it's because of this series that I actually put my head into the ring to make some games. None of them were functional, but I still really enjoyed making them. Maybe I'll try again someday. Anyway, in celebration of the first game's 8th anniversary, and since Pastra still has yet to make a video on it, I will be covering why I believe that FNaF creates true horror that should be remembered for a long time to come. The gameplay of FNaF is incredibly simple and easy to understand. It really just boils down to keeping animatronics out of the office and keeping your power percentage above 0. If any of these are not met, then you're dead. But despite that, the way they are programmed makes them nearly unpredictable in their actions. Most of this is highlighted in Tech Rules' video on the matter, but to summarise, every few seconds an animatronic takes a movement opportunity, which lets them move to the next room. But this only has a % chance of happening, so it takes multiple opportunities at times to move once. What makes this terrifying is not only do they have a small chance of booking it straight to your office, but the same thing works for them standing at your door, where they will go on a continuous streak of failing their movement opportunities as your power quickly dwindles. From a game design standpoint, it is admittedly unfair if the game just decides when it wants you to win or lose. From a horror standpoint, it is phenomenal in creating tension. Not understanding the animatronics is a big part of how the original game is still horrifying to this day. Now, time to talk about the attractions themselves. Bonnie and Chica are practically the same. They each go to the opposite doors, and whilst Chica can be seen directly in the window, Bonnie can be only seen by his reflection when the door is closed. Foxy, however, is a completely different beast. He lurks inside the curtains of Pirate Cove, and slowly peeks out of it until he's bolting it down the hole. Another fun detail about him is that if you read the sign in Pirate Cove, it says that Foxy is out of order. Now, no one knows why, especially since this is Scott Cawthon we're talking about, but I personally believe that it has something to do with his missing legs. I don't know, maybe he's just passionate about the Olympics or something. And last but not least, the most threatening above all, is Freddy Fazbear himself. Unlike Bonnie and Chica, Freddy won't backtrack anywhere past the right hole. To counteract this, you can stall him on the cameras to slow him down. However, once he reaches the hole, he will never go back. All you can do is continue to stall him until he slips by. Micromanaging him is such an important task, especially in the game's nightmarish 420 mode. Not only is he a threat to you in gameplay, he is also what punishes you for running out of power, which is a whole nother layer of RNG where he is either done with quickly or can take excruciatingly long, which at 5 AM builds a shit ton of stress. What makes this kind of ironic is that Phone Guy tries to give the player some advice on surviving this.
Hey listen, I had an idea. If you happen to get caught and want to avoid getting stuffed into a Freddy suit, try playing dead. You know, go limp. Then there's a chance that maybe they'll think that you're an empty costume instead. Then again, if they think you're an empty costume, they might try to stuff a metal skeleton into you. I wonder how that would work.
Both of these aspects build Freddy spectacularly as the main threat of the game. But there is one character that I have neglected so far, and that is the community nicknamed Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy will spawn randomly when checking camera 2B, where the Freddy poster changes into our yellow bear. After flicking down the monitor, you are greeted by a slumped-over yellow mascot inside of your own office. A place, mind you, that you've tried to keep an animatronic-free zone for the whole game. And if you don't flick down your monitor back up, well... As much as we know sort of all there is to know about the character as a community, going in completely blind and seeing a yellow Freddy just appear in your room for seemingly no rhyme or reason fills you with panic and confusion. Just take a gander at Markiplier's first encounter with him.
Okay, I'll leave you to it. See you on the flip side.
Ah, fuck you! Oh god! What the fuck? What the fuck, okay? Not okay! I was just listening to a nice conversation! No, you cannot change rules!
But I've gone on long enough about the gameplay. Let's talk about the visuals. I don't think I need to explain myself when I say that the visuals and atmosphere in this game are petrifying. There's just something that the original game's visuals have that more recent titles never seem to be able to capture. Stuff like Chica staring at you through the window, Bonnie twitching in the hall corner, Foxy sprinting down the hall towards your office, and Freddy lurking in the darkness. Everything about the visuals is handcrafted to fill you with an unshakable feeling of dread, including the designs of the animatronics, which came from game journalists, people whose job it is to rant about how bad they are at video games. I mean, he'd give fair praise and criticism on games, who said that the characters of his old indie game looked more like creepy animatronics. And they fit perfectly within the uncanny valley that animatronics are known for, with cold, dead eyes that stare for miles. Even the freaking chicken has a full bottom row of teeth. And the way they are positioned is just right, and how they are always seem to know that you're watching them just works to send shivers down your spine. Another part of the visuals comes in secret screens that randomly appear when checking the cameras. Whether it's the Freddy poster just freaking out, the crying children posters in the hallway, or all the empty mascot heads in the backstage staring back at you. FNaF is a masterclass of random Easter eggs that add to the already chilling atmosphere. And one of the most used Easter eggs in the game is the phrase, "It's me," which appears in multiple places around the game in hallucinations, like in the halls and on Foxy's out of order sign, and the most common is the random hallucinations that overlay the screen, including an eyeless Bonnie, frickin' human-eyed Freddy, and the iconic phrase, I haven't even talked about the game over screen yet. Whenever you die, you are met with a shot of the backstage camera, but something is very clearly off. The bare endoskeleton has been replaced with a Freddy mascot costume, with bulging human eyes popping out of its sockets. And if you remember correctly, Phone Guy states,
Now concerning your safety, the only real risk to you as a night watchman here, if any, is the fact that these characters, if they happen to see you after hours, probably won't recognize you as a person. They'll most likely see you as a metal endoskeleton without its costume on. Now, since that's against the rules here at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, they'll probably try to forcefully stuff you inside a Freddy Fazbear suit.
The implication of this death screen is self-explanatory. Oh, just a funny little Easter egg. Sometimes Golden Freddy will just jump scare you after the game over screen. Isn't that just jolly? Now enough about the visuals. Let's stroll on over to the final point. The audio. Throughout the whole series, especially in FNaF 4, audio is used as a big part of the gameplay loop, mostly consisting of audio cues and simple sound effects, But in the first game, audio is used in a variety of ways. My source comes from Scruffy, who you should definitely check out by the way, who describes the use of audio in 3 ways, which I will nickname the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good describes audio used to give you information about the animatronics, such as audio cues. For example, when you hear the clanging of pots and pans, the game is trying to tell you that Chica is in the kitchen. Another example is if you hear deep laughter, it means that Freddy has succeeded in a movement opportunity. Also, if you hear quick footsteps getting louder in your left ear, while wearing headphones of course, it means that Foxy is... Now, the bad. The bad entails audio that acts to give you a disadvantage, an example being the fan in your office. Despite getting slightly quieter whilst holding up the monitor, it's still really loud and can easily muddy any information you're trying to get from cues. The next example comes from the cameras, which make loud whirring noises when panning across. Not only that, but any sound you get from the cameras has already been put through a few filters. This gives the player a dilemma. If they want to gather more information, they must sacrifice the only resource that is keeping them from death's door. Finally, let's talk about the ugly. This entails audio that is only used to either set you into a state of confusion, fear, or both. One example being Foxy's Little Sea Shanty. This plays randomly throughout the night for no reason and tells you nothing about what he is doing. The same goes for the pipe organ that also randomly plays. But for sounds that just scare you, let me talk about the doors. When you press a door button, it plays a slightly drawn out sound of the door sliding downwards. This gets the player comfortable with it by its association with said door. But when it suddenly just... it scares you senseless that the one thing you have to defend yourself is now as worthless as your death is inevitable. What I want to finish off this point with is when the animatronics try to speak to you. Well, as close to speech as it could be. Around the 3rd night of the game, and when Bonnie and Chica stand in the corners of the halls, this happens.
Ducky, please stop doing that! Ducky? What is wrong with you?
There is not much you can really say that can describe the sound. Yeah, it sounds like speech, but at the same time it's incredibly distorted. Funny thing is, the truth behind it isn't all that special. All that it really is a heavily edited and filtered reading of Autobiography of a Yogi that has been reversed. But in the game, like how the animatronic designs fit in the visual Uncanny Valley, this attempt at communication fits within the audio Uncanny Valley. But what truly ties this all together is that the game isn't always clear on what is and isn't an audio cue. All of it just blurs together as if every sound is trying to warn you about an impending threat. And that is why I believe the audio in FNaF 1 is great in creating horror. Five Nights at Freddy's is a series that I believe to be an important step for indie games and game design as a whole. It knows how to use every aspect of its design to its full advantage as a horror game, and is something that should be remembered long after its release. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and hey, if you want to see more content, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share with your friends. It would really help me and the channel out. Also shout out to Tech Rules, Scruffy, and Pastra for the inspiration behind this video. They are all 10 times more qualified to talk about games than I am, so if you have the time, please check out their content. They deserve it. Anyways, I believe it's time to see myself out. Bye!